Secretary, you've been very generous with your time. We have just a few comments to wind up here. Senator Shaheen.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. I hope that you will come more often before this committee. But I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. One is that under the CASE Act, the State Department is required, as are other agencies, to give documents like the one that Senator Schatz was raising for the agreement between Venezuela and the U.S. to this committee. We have not yet received it, so I hope that we will see it in the near future. The other thing, with respect to the exchange between you and Senator Rosen, I can tell you that we have, as the minority staff, requested on multiple occasions updates from the State Department on the special envoy's negotiations on the Ukraine war with Russia, and we have been denied access to any of that information. I would hope that, number one, that would be available, because I think everybody's interested in trying to support efforts to end this war in Ukraine. This should not be an adversarial position. And number two, I would also hope that, like Senator Curtis, that you would be willing to have someone from state come before the committee. We have not had a hearing on negotiations over the war in Ukraine since I've been on this committee since the president took office. And so I hope you will make that commitment to have state come and be part of a hearing on the war in Ukraine and the negotiations there.
Yeah, and we would love to do that, and I'll make sure that happens. And I will tell you, I can give you a brief update. I know it's late, but I don't mind. I mean, we can continue to talk about this a little bit because it's important. It's a very fluid situation, unfortunately. I mean, as you know, it's moving very quickly. My sense of it is that for the most part, I discussed the security guarantees piece, which was part of a meeting and efforts that took place in the early part of this year. I think the one remaining item remains the one you're all familiar with, and that is a territorial claim on Donetsk in particular. And I know there's active work going to try to see if both sides' views on that can't be reconciled. It's still a bridge we haven't crossed. It's still a gap. But at least we've been able to narrow down the issue set to one central one. And it will probably be a very difficult one. But nonetheless, it's one that work is going on. There was a meeting late last week in the UAE, which I think for the first time in many years, was trilateral, involved the U.S. presence. Jared was there and Steve Witkoff were there, along with representatives of Russia and Ukraine. They were going to follow up talks again this week in that regard, bilateral. There might be a U.S. presence, but it won't be Steve and Jared. And we continue to try to move that forward. I want to speak in frankness with you. Some of this stuff that's being talked about, it's easier for the parties engaged to find flexibility on some of these matters if they're not being deliberated in the public on a constant basis, because it creates political pressures internally on both sides. As you can imagine in Ukraine, you know, the notion that you would even consider a change in land and after all that's gone in the war it's difficult. And in the case of Russia, they've been telling their people for 2.5 years that they're winning this war overwhelmingly. So people are going to wonder, why are we giving up land if we're winning so strongly? So there's some dynamics there at play that are important. But I think if you need more information on that, we'll provide it. Just know that this has been so fluid that an update like the one I just gave you could be outdated in 72 hours if some new development occurs. But your point is taken, and we'll be responsive to that.
I appreciate that. I think the other point of a hearing is it gives people a chance to ask questions that we're hearing, as you know, from our constituents, from other people, and try and get answers. And I appreciate that it's a changing dynamic and that that's always going to be the case, and that there are issues on both in Ukraine and in Russia with respect to what comes out in public. But given the amount of money that the United States has put into supporting this effort, given the support among the American people, and given the support in Congress, it seems to me that we owe people the ability to have a public hearing and to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.